Welcome to Expansion and Art. How can we reach the clarity of mind and allow solutions to reveal themselves to us instead of using mental force to resolve a problem? How can we find answers to our questions? In a world filled with chaos, noise, and distractions, finding clarity, peace, and harmony can seem like a distant dream. Nevertheless, the path towards clear understanding of our journey can not only be found, but most importantly, can be deeply transformative. Imagine finding the map to answers to your life's pressing questions. Imagine yourself tuning into the subtle whispers of your soul, just to find out the answers were there all along. Just as each seed contains the potential of a mature plant, our mind contains the answers to every question it asks. Clarity is not a destination but a continuous process and that of a journey of calibration and tuning into the rhythm of the universe through our desires, thoughts, and emotions. So, where does it begin? It begins with the acknowledgement that our energy and thoughts are deeply connected. Even more so, the understanding that our thoughts and emotions are not some random occurrences but purposeful signals that not only create our experience but guide us through our entire existence. These guiding lights, when understood and harnessed, can illuminate our path and shine light on the answers we seek. Clarity of mind is not a fleeting state, circumstance, or distant notion, but a cultivated discipline. This aim inherently emerges from the deliberate and intentional practice of aligning our inner world, thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and habits with our outer actions. Just as a gardener tends to their garden, we can cultivate a mental landscape that fosters clarity. We must prune away what no longer serves us and nurture what is vital instead. One of the best ways to achieve this is to embrace self-care through mindfulness, inner stillness, and peace. One of implementations that has been life-changing within my own practice is meditation. Meditation is a cornerstone and can offer a sanctuary where the mind can relax, rest, and reset. It can keep us grounded and recenter our otherwise scattered, aimless, and often ruminating thoughts. This state of calmness, likewise, redirects our point of attraction as we elevate our frequency and, at that, to a higher consciousness. A wonderful environment in which this is possible is to allow some time in silence. This can be a time that is solely dedicated for such activity and or time that becomes available to us at a chance. In any case, the objective here is to utilize the time with a sense of purpose, creating space where we can observe our thoughts without attachment and allow the everyday noise to dissipate. Attachment is what often mirrors the noise on the contrary and leads to confusion, distress, and unnecessary suffering. The space through which we allow to experience an intimate moment in solitude and the connection to ourselves in the interim is where true intentions can surface. They often illuminate the answers to questions that may disturb our mind otherwise. This doesn't necessarily happen during the actual meditation. However, meditation is what allows enough relaxation to take place, where our mind becomes coherent and where synchronicities may become visible to us. Whether these are the right people, events, or circumstances, they will grace our journey in divine timing, and specifically when our mind is lucid enough to recognize them. Now, there are of course many modalities through which we can access the clarity of mind, and the best way I can recommend is to find those that suit best to your own unique disposition. Trying out what sparks your interest and what falls away naturally is the only way to find out what will ultimately resonate with your own preference. Another powerful tool for mental perspicuity and the quality of our mind being clear and understanding is the practice of journaling. Transferring our words onto a paper and making them visible allows us to articulate our thoughts, feelings, and emotions, making them tangible and easier to navigate. It is how history is recorded, how books are written. It is how the video you are watching at this very moment is made. Words carry power. Writing is a form of expression that allows us to uncover hidden truths and gain a deeper understanding of ourselves. Through writing, we can untangle the web of thoughts that often scatter through our minds. It allows us to acknowledge, understand, and reorganize our mind coherently with a sense of purpose. It grants us the ability to document a moment in time in the essence of energy that can never be replicated. Transferring words onto a paper gives them meaning. It takes away the pressure of rumination, as our brain's inborn tendency is to create space for new information when thoughts are fully processed. Externalizing our words activates our brain's natural mode to process information, and as our thoughts are being utilized with a purpose, we can move on to a new set of information. This expands our bandwidth as well as gives the migrated thoughts a new meaning. We often get to discover and interpret this expression at a later time and through a hindsight. Departing from our thoughts allows space, and returning to them at a later time with fresh perspective allows for reflection to take place, and thereby giving us the ability to witness progress, change, and growth. Not only so, but it creates a space for new energy. This itself is what gives clarity its definition and the opportunity to reach us. Where nothing obstructs our mind is where creation happens. It is where the grounds for synchronicities are being prepared. It is this precise state where manifestation of our desires is possible, because we're truly connected to the authentic and instinctive part of ourselves, the higher consciousness, and the power of creation. To create this for ourselves does not mean we have to meditate, journal, and exhaust ourselves to do things that may work for others but don't seem to resonate with us. It is merely a sliver of suggestion and to be observed out of the myriads of things we can do. While meditation and writing has been no short of miracle in my own healing journey, the aim here is to establish a practice that works for you and is unique to your own needs. Whether we find this through meditation, writing, movement, art, or simply walk in the nature, it is the fundament to shaking stagnant energy loose and creating space for new energy. When we engage our mind and body, it helps us to clear mental fog, restore our spirits, and harness a sense of vitality. In essence, any practice that brings us joy, and understandably so with the consideration of being healthy, has the ability to allow therapy, clarity, reset, and reorganization to the chaos that the world around us tends to overwhelm our mind. It is the practice itself that plays a central role for us to become clear-minded, spiritually sound, and maintain the realm of possibility within our experience. The paradigm here, nonetheless, lies within the scope of our limitations. When we open ourselves to the already existing possibilities, this is what expands the probability of change taking place in the direction of our desires. When we are clear, healthy, and our mind is unobstructed, we have the space to not only dream, but to be the creator of our own experience. Furthermore, surrounding ourselves with positive influences, engaging with uplifting content, and immersing ourselves into healthy practices is what will place us in an environment that inspires creativity, joy, and fulfillment. This will further contribute to a clearer and more focused mind. Making conscious choices that align with our highest good is what will ultimately enhance our mental clarity. We often reach a state of confusion when we are faced with questions we have no answers to. The more we search for solutions to our problems, the more we tend to worry, ponder, and ruminate. This often leads us to a mental crossroad, graced with indecision, not knowing which way to turn. At this fork in the road, we tend to keep stepping on the gas pedal while slamming the brake at the same time, halting ourselves from gaining any momentum toward a path of elucidation. Understanding, making a decision, and creating momentum requires energy. When we lack understanding or are unable to see a clear step ahead, we exert this energy into the seemingly bottomless chasm of an uncertain path, unsure where to go. We stand in place, unable to move, and doubt becomes our dominant state as we remain suspended somewhere in between, dislodged from a firm belief. We often cast judgment upon ourselves for being uncertain in the first place, and our inner language resembles the discomfort we experience in the interim. Our thoughts become fragmented, while our energy becomes scattered as we stray away from focusing on the journey. Hence, we are unable to maintain the flow of ease and reach the destination. Where ease flows, clarity enters, and where clarity resides, doubt has no place. The intention here is to create a space for new energy where tension is otherwise present. When we focus solely on making a decision of any kind, yet haven't gathered enough information to do so, we're trying to harvest the fruit that isn't ripe yet. Impatience becomes part of the equation as we try to take action prematurely. This itself creates discomfort and tension and often introduces a sense of consternation. As our mind becomes rigidly stuck on an issue, our body will follow with tautness. This creates a further gap between us and the solution because we are unable to access our inner resources as our sympathetic nervous system becomes overwhelmed. When this occurs, the stress hormone cortisol enters our prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for attention and executive function within our brain, and we lose control of our thoughts, emotions, and behavior. Therefore, we have no means to coherent information. To see clearly through physical lenses, we must keep the surface clean and free of matter that will cause our vision to be obscure otherwise. When we ask a question, the answer forms in the quantum field. It energetically exists in the form of information to which we have access to as soon as we ask the question. Whether, however, we keep our spiritual lenses clean enough for it to reach the site of our desire is simply up to us. Answers to questions, as well as solutions to problems, are ready to rain upon us as long as we don't hold our umbrella up to block ourselves from them. Often we do this through our resistance, by focusing on the issue at hand, pushing for the result, and therefore stagnating our energy even further. The more we push, the less we allow. Focusing away from tension and toward ease allows us to create energy that is reciprocal to our desire. We often think directing our attention to a problem will solve it. In fact, the opposite is true. What we think about expands. Conversely, we must then direct our focus away from the problem in order for the solution to arrive. When we learn to direct focus toward areas of ease instead, the energy can then flow as opposed to be maneuvered. While our brains are wired to react to stimuli with an embryonic emotional response, this happens fundamentally unconsciously so, before we consciously develop thoughts toward a given scenario. While feelings are conscious experiences that arise from emotions, our thoughts are close to follow. Cognitive appraisal theory suggests that we first experience a stimulus and then interpret it on an emotional level, ultimately leading to a thought about the situation, state, or set of circumstances. This is where, however, we can notice the impact of thoughts on feelings. While according to this theory, feelings may come first, our thoughts can then carry an influence and modify the intensity of those feelings. So, how can we receive guidance to then achieve spiritual clarity and for this becoming our dominant state? There's sort of an unobservable arrow pointing right at us, which often eludes our spiritual lenses. It is not something we can see, it is something we can feel through our senses, through our emotions. I believe emotions are a form of protection. Having the faith that they are happening for us and not to us can give us relief that we are not alone. They are the light that carries us in the dark. Our emotions can remind us of having divine guidance, a reminder that there is something bigger than us at work that allows us to experience through our senses. We often take for granted the fact that we can feel. Emotions can be utilized as a compass to a whole map of decisions that guide our actions toward the path of clarity and that of alignment. So, how can we then align our emotions to progress toward spiritual clarity and mental health? First, we must cultivate cognizance around our emotional intelligence, referred here to as EI. Let's have an overview of the 5 key elements of EI. The main ingredients to the emotional intelligence recipe factor in self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. While each serves its profound purpose, self-awareness and self-regulation are the rudiments of spiritual clarity that can foster the mental health needed in order to be the creator of our own experience. With these two alone, we can manifest answers to our questions without applying unnecessary force by introducing resistance into the equation. If we can label and name our emotions, we can recognize what is happening within us and therefore adjust, pivot, and regulate our nervous system in time of need. We can use this emotional information to guide our thinking and behavior, self-regulate, and become more self-aware, empathetic, expressive, and perceptive. Perception is the key to recognizing when to take action and when to step back. This allows us a first step toward discerning solutions when problem arises. Esther Hicks uses the analogy of a stick. If the problem is on one end of the stick and the solution is on the other end, logically, we cannot be at both ends at once. Hence, when we focus away from the problem, we move closer to the solution. This focus allows for coherence to enter the equation. So, let's pay attention to what this feels like within our body. When we think of a problem and feel any tension coming on, this is perhaps when we should leave the subject alone. Tension is the signal where energy has stopped flowing. Our prerogative is, on the contrary, to make sure energy flows freely through us so we can reach a point of solution. This often illuminates our awareness just when we let go of the struggle of attachment to a certain outcome or the need of an immediate resolution. This is where answers knock at our door. Granting ourselves the permission to just be instead of do keeps this door ajar. We can learn to reach for our inner resources in the meantime and allow space for discovery. It is often then that we discover the answers was there all along. It provides us with insight as to how we can align our emotions to better thoughts and therefore more desired outcomes, especially during time of uncertainty. Meditation or creative practices such as hobbies, listening to music, or reading can be a wonderful modality to reach for in order to lessen our resistance and recalibrate our energy. Cultivating the habit of consistent reflection and therefore the power of self-awareness brings clarity to our path. It reveals answers to our questions and yields opportunities our way. Our actions expand with intention, allowing for our mind to become lucid. Our heart becomes coherent and we naturally elevate the frequency of our energetic signature. This allows us to operate at a higher level of consciousness and recognize what is available within our quantum field. In conclusion, our sense of direction becomes defined with a purpose. As we nurture this purpose, we find that our path becomes not only clear, but illuminated with guidance, and we move through our experiences with ease. As our thoughts become intelligible, we sharpen the precision of knowing, and our journey becomes that of ease, grace, and guidance.